Chocolate cake feels timeless, like it has always existed, waiting at the end of a meal. But for most of history, chocolate was bitter, unsweetened, and never meant to please. Cake was dry, restrained, something you endured, not desired. So when did chocolate stop resisting, and how did failure turn into the dessert we crave today? Chocolate did not belong to kitchens. It moved through empires, ports, and trading routes. Today, like in the past, that journey quietly leads to the Ivory Coast, the world's largest cocoa producer, where bitterness is still grown at scale, long before sweetness ever appears. Chocolate was taxed like gold, guarded like knowledge, consumed as liquid power, not pleasure. When sugar finally met cocoa in Europe, it was not about taste. It was about control, preservation, and profit. So how did something born from power end up as comfort food? Chocolate didn't begin as such. It began as discipline. For centuries, it was a drink meant to sharpen you, not soothe you. Bitter, energizing, controlled. Warriors drank it, priests drank it. It wasn't for children, and it definitely wasn't for pleasure. So imagine how strange it would have sounded to turn chocolate into cake. You don't bake ritual, you don't sweeten authority. Chocolate wasn't supposed to make you relax. It was supposed to keep you focused, upright, in control. And yet, that boundary was crossed, quietly at first. And that's where the tension slips into the story. The first chocolate desserts didn't feel harmless. They felt unsettling. Early critics worried something was being lost. Discipline, they said, was dissolving. Pleasure without effort looked suspicious. Sweetness without struggle felt like moral decay. Chocolate was meant to sharpen the mind, not soften it. So when it moved from cup to crumb, something snapped, and people noticed. Because cake, back then, was about order. It was dry, structured, predictable. A food built on restraint. Chocolate didn't belong in that world. Fat bends structure, sugar weakens resistance, moisture refuses rules. Early bakers thought they were failing. Their cakes came out dense. The center stayed soft, the middles never quite set. But listen closely. Those weren't mistakes. They were reactions. A system breaking under richness it wasn't designed to hold. That's where the Fudgy chocolate cake really comes from. Not from craving, not from nostalgia, from control. That texture only becomes possible when fat, sugar, heat, and timing finally line up. Precise ovens, refined ingredients, reliable temperatures. That softness isn't emotional. It's engineered. Without control, fudginess doesn't exist. And once it did, there was no going back. Now let me tell you something else that changed at the same time. Celebrations moved indoors. Public feasts faded. Birthdays replaced spectacle. Ovens replaced fire. Food stopped performing for crowds and started living in kitchens. Smaller rooms, fewer people, lower voices. And suddenly this dense, indulgent cake made sense. It belonged to intimacy, not ceremony. The health legends came later. Chocolate as medicine, sugar as sin, fat as danger. But chocolate was never clean or corrupt. It was always a stimulant, a mood shifter, a quiet negotiator between control and release. That's why Fudgy chocolate cake survived everything. Wars, industry, diet culture, and guilt. Because it never promised balance, it offered relief. A moment where bitterness softens, where discipline loosens, and where control is briefly, willingly surrendered. And once you understand that, this cake stops being about guilt or pleasure. and starts being about permission. Follow the story, not just the recipe. More dishes are waiting.